Today, Baba is giving us the title that we are spiritual guides and we are the ones taking everybody on a spiritual pilgrimage. And Baba says, Baba is the ultimate guide, and Baba has come to guide us back to our sweet home and to the world of happiness. And we are also spiritual guides. So Baba says, first we have to ensure that we are always on a spiritual pilgrimage. Yes, because a guide is first a pilgrim. So you have to be on the path to show everybody the path. And Baba says, how do we have to live our life? We have to live like a lotus while living in a family and stay on the pilgrimage of remembrance. Yes. So, do I live like a lotus in the family? What is the quality of a lotus? Baba has told us that the lotus doesn't get, get tainted by the quality of the water around itself. Similarly, we have to live in the family, in the household. We have to do whatever work we have to do, go to office, take care of the family. But Baba says, while doing all of that, we shouldn't get influenced in any way by the matters of the world. So, just like, the lotus has its own beauty, every soul has now received the introduction that you are innately peaceful, you are innately joyful. We are children of the ocean of peace, ocean of joy. So, we should always, my heart should be filled with purity, with peace, with joy while living in the household. And you see, when you check yourself, so when you get up in the morning, so you are peaceful, you are joyful, you are, you're okay. But then how do you lose your peace and happiness? Through your own thoughts. Yes, the way you think, the way you create your feelings, the way you conduct yourself in the world, the way you think about people and things, the way you speak. So, happiness is our innate nature. And when we perform actions that are not knowledgeful, that are not in alignment with our true nature, then we lose that happiness. Do you understand this thing? So nobody makes you lose your happiness. It is your own self. So, it's your own actions, your own thoughts, your own words, your own acts that make you lose your happiness. And Baba tells us that, we have to live like a lotus. Now, Baba has given us knowledge and power. And Baba says, knowledge I give you, but you have to stay in awareness of that knowledge and conduct yourself knowledgefully so that you can stay in happiness all day. Yes, or stay like a lotus all day. Don't lose your purity, or don't get influenced and engage in actions which are not in alignment with your own nature. So, how do we stay like a lotus? So, first is we take the knowledge from Baba and we conduct ourselves knowledgefully. So, the interesting thing is, we have knowledge, but I have to question myself. Do I conduct myself knowledgefully? Yes, so first thing about being knowledgeful is maintaining your self-honor. Yes, so sitting on the seat of awareness of who you are and what is your quality, and then performing actions according to who you are. So just ask yourself, when we come to Baba, the first point of knowledge that we receive is you are the creator of your thoughts, feelings, and actions. And they have got nothing to do with, who you are with or what's going on around you. And in the world, we have received this information that you behave according to your circumstances or according to the person in front of you. So let's say, you tell anybody in the world that there is somebody always talking bitterly to me, and I have an emotional reaction towards that, then everybody in the world will tell you that it is normal and natural to have that reaction because, bitter words that somebody else is speaking will have an impact on you. But Baba says that yes, they will have an impact on you when you are not on your seat of self awareness. But if you're sitting on your seat of self awareness and you know that you are a soul and you are the master of your mind and intellect, and whatever you hear from the ears or see with the eyes has to go through this filter, yes, that where you discern whether you have to think about it or not think about it, whether you have to focus on it or not focus on it. And then you make that choice how to think about a word that you heard or how to see a scene that's in front of you. And you have that choice. And we have been given this knowledge by Baba. But just ask yourself, are you conducting yourself knowledgefully? Yes, and how will you conduct yourself knowledgefully? So Baba has given us this practice that you sit in Amrit Vela and practice being soul conscious. Yes, so what do we do? What do we have to do in Amrit Vela exactly? So we have to get up and sit straight but relaxed with our eyes open and engage in thoughts that I want to engage in, and not allow my mind to be pulled or distracted by whatever is going on around me. So that is building your capacity for conscious thinking. So if I have made it a program, if I have set for myself that I will sit and experience myself as the child of the ocean of peace. So Baba is sending peace towards me, waves of peace, rays of peace, and I'm sitting behind the eyes in the center of the brain and experiencing that peace that Baba is sending my way, and I'm stabilizing myself in an absolutely peaceful stage while doing that. Then if you just paid attention to that and you practiced it, then what you're doing is you are practicing having control over your mind and intellect. You are practicing using that muscle of the intellect to focus where you want to focus, and you are practicing how to create thoughts and feelings in your mind as you want to create them. So Baba says that, Baba has given us the method to, to stay like a lotus while living in the family. And what is the method? Being knowledgeful and being in remembrance of Baba. Because, when you perform actions which are not knowledgeful, then those very actions will make you lose your happiness, lose your purity. Because happiness is the product of good karma, or your stage is the product of your actions. So Baba says, if you want to be like a lotus while living in the family, you have to perform every act very consciously, because it is your actions that make you miserable, make you, that make you lose your happiness or make you miserable. It is not what's happening around you. It's how you think about it, how you see it, how you respond to it or react to it. So Baba is telling us that you have to live like a lotus. And for that, you need the power of knowledge, you need the power of yoga. Now, Baba is every day giving us knowledge, but we have to take that knowledge, churn on it, and arrive at that knowledgeful state. Baba is the ocean of peace, Baba is the ocean of joy and love, and always, one thought away. But you have to remember Baba and soak in that peace, that joy, that love from Baba, and create that state of power within yourself. And Baba says this is how we have to live in the household like a lotus. And Baba says that, Baba tells that ask yourself. So today Baba says that just ask yourself, if somebody died in front of you, would you shed tears? Yes, so just ask yourself that, will you start crying if somebody, anybody, all the people that you know and that you are in relationship with, if somebody were to leave the body, would you cry about it? Yes, and Baba says that if you're really knowledgeful and powerful, then you would never cry when somebody leaves the body, because that is very body conscious to cry when somebody leaves the body, because that this is a soul and that soul changed a costume. So when we are body conscious, we cry when somebody leaves the body. But when you are knowledgeful, you're powerful, that this soul changed the costume, and every soul has to play their own part. So there is no reason to cry. And again, you see, you have Baba, the one who has wiped out all our tears. So then there is no reason to cry. So Baba says that, you have to, but how do you create that stage? How do you create that stage? By living like a lotus, by living when you are within the setup of the family and work and everything, but you are in remembrance of Baba and you are in awareness of knowledge all the time, and you are choosing your every thought, every word, every act, you are choosing knowledgefully, you are being powerful, you are using your 8 powers. You are using the power to tolerate, you are using the power to stay like a detached observer, and then you are performing every action. And Baba says, when you do this, and you are on the pilgrimage of remembrance while living in the household. Now you see, in the world, when people go on pilgrimages, what do? They leave their family and work behind, yes? So you see, there are so many people who go on pilgrimages, and these days, there are spiritual retreats. So there are so many paths that, they will invite you for 10 days, 15 days, 30 days, and then you go and stay in their campus, and then you just be detached from the household or the work at that time, and then you focus on your spiritual journey. But Baba says that you cannot absolve your sins like that. Yes, you go to any ashram for 10 days or 15 days or 30 days, and then you stay there and you think that you will absolve yourself of your sins by doing that. That's not happening. Baba says you have, even when we go to Madhuban, we don't think that we will absolve our sins during that time. We think that, okay, this is like a refreshment in Brahmin life. Yes, and our Brahmin life or our path is every day. It's not when you go there and you just practice something, and that's not going to lead to a lot. So your Brahmin life is every day. Every day you have to do the inner work that you're supposed to do. And that is why Baba says this pilgrimage is every day. So you have to while living in the household, Baba says, you cannot take a holiday or a vacation and then do this work. No. While living in the household, while doing everything, just stay like a lotus. Just, choose your thought, word, and act, and be in Baba's remembrance. That is Baba's Shrimat for us children. And Baba has told us that everything depends on our actions. Do you know that with our actions, by performing actions, we come into bondage? Yes, so how are karmic bondage is created? Through our own actions. So today, if you are miserable because, so today, if somebody has the capacity to make you feel miserable, why is it so? Because you have spent your time and thought and energy on that person. Yes, otherwise that person wouldn't have the capacity to make you feel miserable. So you came into that bondage through your own thought, word, and act. And then Baba says that just with that, how do you change that karmic bondage? So in that same relationship, when you come into that relationship with soul consciousness or in remembrance of Baba, you will change the equation of that relationship. So when you start looking at that same person as a soul and as Baba's child, and not have feelings of attachment or lust or anger or any kind of expectations from them, but you just start looking at them as a soul, then that remembrance of Baba and engaging in spiritual actions. So when you engage in spiritual actions, when you engage in soul conscious actions in that same relationship, you will be able to break the cycle. And you cannot run away from somebody and avoid them. You can, when you change your vision, when you change your attitude, that same relationship, instead of becoming a relationship of bondage, it becomes a relationship of freedom. So that bondage is over. So you don't need to avoid somebody. These days people, what they do is, when they think that some person is having an influence on them, or they feel trapped, or they feel, they find somebody difficult to handle, what do? They would just block them. Yes, but then what would they do after some time? Unblock them. Because that bondage is not over. So you cannot get free from bondage by running away from someone or something. So you have to understand that you invested your time, thought, energy towards a person, and that's why you came into that bondage. Now what you have to do is invest that same time, thought, and energy remembering Baba, and in that course you will forget bodily beings. So you don't have to think about bodily beings. Remember Baba, and even when you are coming into interaction, have that drishti that this is just a soul and this is Baba's child, and there is no direct relationship with me and this soul. There is an indirect relationship that we are both Baba's children, and I have to have feelings of, pure love, spiritual love for this person rather than any other feelings of attachment. And this is how Baba says, you will become free from all the karmic bondages. So Baba doesn't tell us that you go on a pilgrimage and, take a vacation, leave everything behind and go on a pilgrimage and then your life will change. No. Baba says this spiritual pilgrimage has to be constant. And for that, you have to be constantly practicing soul consciousness and staying in remembrance of Baba and living in a household like a lotus. And Baba says 63 births of karmic burden you will finish only through this method. And then Baba says also become a guide, teach everybody how to be on a spiritual pilgrimage. So when you live like this, you know how to live like this, then you will inspire everyone else also to live like that. So, if you go to an office and you sit there all day without getting influenced by the environment and always conducting yourself knowledgefully, powerfully, lovefully, then you will not have to tell people to do that. They will learn it from you, and they will come and ask you. I will tell you one incident. I was When I was working in the office, there was one incident where the boss was shouting at me on phone, and that he wanted me to do something. So, but it was against the law. So it was not. So he was pressurizing that you do this, and then I knew that I didn't want to do this. So he kept shouting, because when he didn't have his way, he got very angry. So he kept shouting, and it was in government offices, you have that phone where everybody can hear through the phone. So it was pretty loud, and everybody, all my colleagues could hear that he was shouting. And then I just maintained my tone and I said, I'm not doing this. So he kept shouting, he kept getting louder and louder and louder. And I just maintained in that same peaceful manner. I kept saying, I'm not doing this. If there is any other way out, please tell me. You want me to take a leave? I will take a leave. You do it in my absence. But I am not doing this. I am not becoming part of this. And he kept shouting, shouting, shouting. And then after reaching a certain decibel, he came down. But all through that process, I was completely in self-awareness, and I was not afraid of what he was doing. I was not feeling anything. I had no hard feelings for him. I knew that he's not having his way, so he will react like that. And then when I kept the phone, then everybody around me, they knew that this is coming from a spiritual place. And I didn't have to tell them. And this is how, you serve people around you. You don't have to tell them, be quiet, or respond peacefully. If you are peaceful, they will want to learn that path from you. They will want to learn how you stay peaceful in these situations. So everybody, because every soul is made of knowledge, purity, peace, love, they are attracted to those qualities. So when you are loveful, come what may, when you are compassionate, come what may, when you are peaceful, come what may, when you never lose your happiness, everybody will ask you the path, and you can lead them onto this path through your, through your life, not through your words, but through your life. So Baba says that this is how you become a spiritual guide. And you see, Baba, how do we get influenced by Baba? Because Baba never changes, you see. Baba is always constant. Baba is constant in his thoughts, feelings, behavior, attitude. Every day, Baba doesn't discern that, let me discern today they are sweet children or bitter children. No. Baba is always starting the Murli with sweet children. Have you ever heard Baba saying, no, today you are bitter children? No. We may be bitter, sour, not so sweet, whatever. But Baba is always himself. When he knows he speaks this language, he speaks that language only. And when somebody is always constant, then you get influenced by them. And how can you be always constant in your thought, word, and behavior? Constantly loveful, constantly peaceful, constantly pure, when you live like a lotus. And for that, Baba is giving us the ingredient, knowledge and yoga. So when you use that knowledge at every step, when you stay in awareness, and when you are always on the pilgrimage of remembrance, then you stay like a lotus. And this is the method through which you also guide others. So, just by being yourself, you can guide others on this path of, of Srimat, or the Baba's path. So this is one thing. Then second thing Baba says is, Baba, just like Baba teaches us everything, Baba also teaches us which fashion to, do, and which fashion to refrain from. So Baba today says that, I tell you to have this spiritual decoration every day. Yes, so adorn yourself with knowledge, virtues, and powers. So every soul should make an attempt to every day adorn oneself with knowledge, virtues, and powers. And knowledge you get through Baba's Murli, and everybody should read Baba's Murli before attending this class. So, and then we are churning on Baba's jewels. So, first thing is knowledge. So, Baba says, adorn yourself with knowledge. And when you sit in my remembrance, then you adorn yourself with virtues and powers also. And Baba says, this is one thing you have to do for yourself every day. So, people these days, when you say engage in self care, what self care has come to mean these days is, go to the parlor, have some makeup, do something with your body. But Baba says that is not self care. So, what is self care? Understand that you are a soul and you need this dose of knowledge and virtues and powers every day. And if you don't decorate yourself every day with these spiritual adornments, then how will you look? Yes, you look very lost. So when you come into actions and behavior, then there is no clarity of thought. There is no rhythm to our actions. There is no pattern. There is no, you are just reacting to everything. And then Baba says, which fashion to not do? So today Baba clearly says that don't engage in the tamo pradhan fashion of the world. So the fashion that people are doing these days, spending so much money on their hair and makeup and this and that. So Baba says, don't do that. Why? Baba says today that, everything. So time, thought and energy, body, mind, wealth. So when you spend your money somewhere, when you spend your time somewhere, when you spend your thoughts somewhere, then you will be attached to that object on which you spend your time, thought, energy and money. Do you understand this? There will be attachment. So this is why Baba says that if you spend too much on your body, on decorating your body, then you will have attachment with the body. Yes, I remember, there was this one Mata, and she couldn't bear the thought that she had wrinkles on her face. Yes, and then, what she kept saying all the time? She said, I have taken really good care of my skin and still there are wrinkles. And it troubles me a lot. So, the wrinkles are not the problem. The problem is that you have taken really good care. So, sometimes when we invest too much on something, we don't understand that we are creating attachment. So, do you understand the difference between necessary investment and, unnecessary investment? So when you're body conscious, the sign of body consciousness is you spend more time, thought, energy and money than necessary on something. Yes, so Baba says that, you have to bathe the body and clothe the body, that's fine. But, unnecessarily you put makeup and, jewelry and this and that. And earlier, it was women who did all of this, but these days, brothers also, a lot of fashion they have. And I was just looking at one, there was one brother and he came and he was talking to me. And then he suddenly said, Didi, you didn't notice my hair? So I said, what have you done to your hair? So he said, I spent so much on the hair and you didn't even notice. So he's a Kumar. So I said, I don't have the sense to notice all this. You should tell me. So I don't know that this costs so much. And so sorry to have disappointed you, but I don't have the ability to notice these things. So you see that these days brothers are also so much into it. So Baba says that don't do this, because Baba has asked us to become a beggar. So do you know, beggar to prince? So beggar means not somebody who begs, but somebody who has nothing. So Baba says, when you have nothing, you will go to everything. So what is nothing? So even this body is not mine. So when you remove your attachment from everything, then you will have everything. So this is why Baba says that don't engage in this fashion, because this will create attachment to the body. And second thing Baba says is, this world is very evil, and when you become very physically attractive, then who are you attracting? All the wrong kind of people. Yes, so Baba says you will attract every impure drishti. So, when you become attractive, so attractive to whom? Attractive to all those who are having evil intentions. So Baba says, why do you want to be physically so attractive? So that you attract all the wrong kinds of vision towards yourself. So Baba says, that's why stay very simple. Don't engage in any kind of this adornment which attracts evil eyes. And Baba today says something very interesting. Baba says, in this world, in Kali Yuga, being ugly is a blessing. So Baba says, if you're ugly, that's very, very nice, because you will not be attracting evil eyes. And if if the body is very attractive, that's also a very difficult, that's also challenging in Kali Yuga, because then you have to deal with a lot of evil eyes. And all the time, you have to keep overcoming those challenges. So Baba says, don't engage in any kind of external bodily fashion. Okay, so how many of you think that this is important and I will adopt it? Because many Baba's children also, they are also engaging in a lot of fashion. So Baba says, don't do that. And this is Baba's Shrimad, and stay in the household on the path of remembrance. And today Baba also says that, when Baba comes and teaches purity, then there is a lot of evil word that's spread against Baba's work, because people say that these people make you brothers and sisters, and because in the world people believe that you cannot be in a marriage and be pure. Man and woman cannot be together and not be lustful. So that is the belief of the world. And Baba says, every cycle when I come, these things happen. People will try to give you a bad name because, this is new, and Baba is asking us to become like a lotus while living in the household. And this nobody had ever thought about. So these things will happen. But Baba says, do you know the interesting thing? That those who have to belong to Baba and go to the new world, they will go anyway. And all the obstacles will come for those who are weak. Yes, so, I always think sometimes, when people say that, this kind of obstacle is coming, or there is this reputation, or this is happening, and my family members are saying, don't go on this path. So I always think that we also face these challenges, but we never even needed the need to discuss it. Yes, because it didn't affect us. It's okay. So you see, there is some word against something, and when you know that this is Baba and this is Baba's work, then even if somebody is saying that, this path will make you a brother and sister, and this will break homes and this and that, that from where it is coming, that it is coming from false information. So it will not have an influence on you. But if there is not that fortune to become a Satyugi, prince or princess, then of course these things affect you. So Baba says that these things happen every cycle. Every cycle, when Baba comes and teaches us purity, then people spread a wrong word against it, because in this world, impurity is celebrated and purity is looked down upon. But then that is a challenge for those who are weak. That is a challenge for those whose fortune is not calling them, not for those who create their fortune every cycle. For them, these things don't matter. Okay, Om Shanti. Anybody wants to share anything, please do.
Om Shanti Didi.
Om Shanti.
Today Baba asked us to win our attachment with soul conscious practices more and more, and having Shubh Bhavna and Shubh Kamna for everyone around us.
Correct.
And not having any rejection for any soul.
Correct.
And be knowledgeful in actions.
Yes.
And in thoughts at first.
Right.
And whenever we get free time after communication, we should again engage in our soul conscious practices.
Correct.
And this is called being Yukti Yukt.
Yes. Yes.
Maintaining our timetable as well as caring for others also.
Correct.
And remaining Gita. This is Lotus life situation.
Correct. Yes. Thank you.
Thank you.
So do you understand that even when you are thinking ill about somebody, so sometimes somebody hurts you and then you keep thinking about that person and trying to build hate towards that person so that you can detach. But you cannot detach like that. So when you are thinking about somebody, that's not detachment. So in order to be detached, you have to be soul conscious. So soul conscious means you don't think about a person. You think about them as Baba's children and leave it to Baba. And whenever you are thinking about anybody, either through attachment or through hatred, that's attachment. That's not detachment. Okay? Om Shanti. Okay. Anybody else wants to share? Yes.
Shanti Didi.
Om Shanti.
Today Baba talks about the virtue of remaining cheerful.
Yes.
So Baba says that's going to help you a lot in your spiritual efforts.
Correct.
And the way your face remains cheerful, Baba says even the soul should be cheerful the same way.
Yes.
And if you remain cheerful, no Maya, no attacks of Maya will be able to attract you.
Correct.
And the second thing I like is Baba talks about simplicity. That if you want to adorn yourself with makeup, then just make up with knowledge through Murli.
Yes.
And with when you sit for yoga, you adorn yourself with divine virtues and power.
Yes.
I like that.
Thank you. Om Shanti.
Thank you, Didi.